From Behind the Kennel. Written by Bit Studio. Is that a unicorn? Sunshine basked the buildings, bringing in the afternoon from the sunny morning. Mostly everybody was outside, going about their daily business, such as going to markets, having breakfast at the restaurants, or young kids having fun with their friends, either by playing in their backyard, playing castle, or skateboarding down the empty street. Everyone else who remained inside were either busy with their own activities or were just working at home. The sun's warm rays caressed every surface of the two houses across the street from each other. The windows that had been covered during the day were opened, allowing fresh air to flow into the rooms and fill them up a bit more. It was the same routine for both families. If it wasn't raining, then they'd go out and have a cup of coffee or tea before getting ready for the rest of the day. This morning was different though. No rain could be heard from outside, even on this very bright day, as everyone seemed intent on going about their normal routines, with no sign of any upcoming storm. A giant park was filled with kids playing with their friends, parents, and siblings. Sons and daughters with their mothers and fathers pushing their children on swings, birds eating seeds off the ground from an elderly woman pulling more seeds out of her bag. A man was down on his knees holding a tiny black box and showing it to the woman he loved. Everyone would already know what's bound to happen between those two, but still, you never know when love is bound to come. The woman squealed like a fangirl when the man asked her to marry him, and she instantly accepted the offer. A group of girls walked by laughing and talking about a date night they're planning on Saturday night. On the corner sat a couple of young men who had decided to take advantage of the weather and walk around town together. They didn't plan on making much conversation and only talked about the future plans of the next big event they had planned for the next year. A young man was sitting on a bench watching the now engaged couple from afar. He wore clean white shoes, black jeans, a long-sleeve white shirt underneath his gray charcoal coat. His skin was brightly green and he bore a deep black question mark on his forehead. He was usually called in proper manner as Mr. Anonymous, but those who knew him called him by his first name, Anon. Anon had a soft smile plastered on his face. He'd always enjoyed seeing happy couples. Today, however, he was too absorbed to notice anything else than his phone buzzing repeatedly in his pocket. He reached down and pulled out his phone, opening the Messages app and clicking read. He held his hand against the screen to shade it a little from the blinding sunlight, and saw that a text from one of his close friends had arrived. From Halsey. Hey Anon, can you believe it's almost May? I can hardly wait till summer. I hope we all can have lots of fun. Wish me luck. To Halsey. I wish you the best of luck. Do not think that your luck will ever run short. But I also know that the universe has a way of working its magic. I wish you all the best. Have fun. Anon set his phone down and let the wind play whipped by his ears. His eyes followed the people passing by him, but kept them on the ground, until suddenly someone called from behind. Yo, Anon! He looked over his shoulder and saw a familiar figure. He wore an orange tangerine jacket, blue jeans, a beanie over his head, and had black gloves to keep his hands warm. One eye was normal on the right, a perfect chocolate brown color. The other one on the left was the opposite. They were contacts. Ace, what are you doing here? Anon asked with bewilderment. Came to see you, best buddy, Ace responded, before jumping over the bench, landing safely while putting his hands over his head and letting out a relaxing sigh. You didn't answer any of my calls, so I decided to find you here, since this is your secret spot. Anon folded his arms, raising a brow at him. And how did you know this was my secret spot? He hummed for what felt like 2 minutes, tapping his finger to his chin. I don't know, I just guessed, he replied, shrugging his shoulders. Anon let out a sigh before turning away from Ace and staring at the ground. What do you want, Ace? Shouldn't you be with Mia right now? He asked him, wondering what brought him here when he's with his girlfriend during Tuesdays. Ace's expression changes from a smile to a pouty face. He huffed, then turned away from Anon, crossing his arms like a wimpy 5-year-old. Well, if you must know, Mia is out of town, and she won't be back until Christmas, Ace responded. Ugh, I miss her already too, he cried. I was gonna take her out for dinner and go ice skating with her, and... Ace stopped, noticing Anon biting his lips, holding in a few chuckles. He felt blood rushing through his cheeks, feeling a bit embarrassed, glaring at his chuckling pal. What? Anon lifted his head to face him. You're such a white knight, Ace. Shut up, Ace shouted, rolling his body around, bringing his arms to a cross. There was a moment of silence between the two, and Ace changed the subject. Look, are you sure you're doing okay? You know, after what happened? Ace asked with a bit of concern in his voice. Anon turned to Ace, his face filled with worry. He knew what he was talking about, and he didn't want to bring it up again. Not now. He placed his palm on his shoulder, smiling at him. I'm fine, he reassuringly says. Ace sighs out of relief, letting all the worry be lifted from his shoulders. The air had felt thick between them as time went by. None of them said anything since Ace had arrived. The only sounds they listened to were the kids playing through the park and the cold breeze that seemed to blow through the town. And then, like a light bulb, an idea came and sparked in his mind. Hey, you know what I was thinking? We should get you a dog. Anon blinked. A dog. Yeah, dogs make everyone's lives better. My sister's got a dog, my grandma has a dog, and they made them happy, so I'm sure it'll do the same for you, Ace said, hoping to convince him. Part of him wasn't sure about the idea, let alone having a pet. Last time Anon had a pet was the time he had a goldfish when he was 4. Anon left his fish for a few minutes to head into the bathroom, but when he came back he found his fish being swallowed whole by his neighbor's cat Vicky. Those were bad deeds that he'd never want to go through again. I'm not sure, Anon responded. Huh? Ace looked at Anon with a perplexed look while scratching his head. Why not? Dogs are awesome. Yeah, I know, he explained before Anon stood up and walked past him. I just don't think I'm ready for that kind of responsibility. But wait! Ace followed after him and stopped him by waving his hands. He reaches into his pocket and pulls out a card. He places it on the palm of Anon's hand and closes it. Here, he said, before rolling his body around and walking in the other direction. What? Ace! Anon turned his shoulder, watching Ace leave. What is this? Get yourself a dog, Anon. Trust me, it'll all be worth it, he shouted, without looking at him, and kept walking straight. Anon was once again alone. What was that all about? Why was Ace so eager for him to get a new pet? He doubted having a pet would somehow cheer him up, let alone having a dog in his apartment. Anon looked down at the card he'd been given and read the logo. Petsfield. There was an address on the card. This place is out of town, and it's not too far from where he is. He let out a defeated sigh and shoved the card down in his pocket before heading off. Alright, that was part 1 of From Behind the Kennel by Bit Studio. Honestly, I am enjoying this story, and I cannot wait to get to the next part, that is for sure. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Stay safe, stay golden, and shine bright, my stars. Till next time, deuces.